Hello, welcome. This channel is all about our journey to become more self-sufficient. But today we're going to look at caring for our lawn at this time of the year. February, late winter, early spring. And although that hasn't really got much to do with self-sufficiency, in our case we use all of the grass cuttings throughout the year for our compost. And that is a fantastic source of nitrogen going into our compost heaps to provide nutrition for our vegetable beds. So in this video I'm going to take you through what we do at this time of year to get the lawn in its tip-top condition to produce as much grass as possible. Now obviously having a reasonable lawn isn't just about producing grass for the compost heap. It's also about having somewhere pleasant to relax and enjoy the warmer days of the year for the kids to play on, and if we're lucky enough in the UK, maybe even some sunbathing and entertaining. Now, like a lot of lawns in the UK, through the dull, damp, cold winter months we get a good build-up of moss, and it's pretty much all over the lawn, and it grows in patches, and what it does is it smothers the grass, prevents new shoots from coming up, and takes over the ground. And that's something that we're going to deal with later in the video. But first we need to look at some of the weeds we've got growing in this lawn. Now, one of the main problems we have with regard to weeds in our lawn are thistles, and the reason for that is when we bought the house, quite a lot of the lawn had big dips, and we backfilled it with garden soil, leveled it out a bit and seeded it. We also excavated a large trench through the lawn for some drainage works, and whenever you disturb ground, one of the first things to move into that ground to repopulate it are weeds, and as such we have an ongoing battle with things like thistles. Now, you could use commercial weed killers, broadleaf weed killers, to get rid of these weeds and not kill the grass, but because we want to put the grass cuttings on our compost, we avoid things like that and we remove them manually. So to remove the weeds and the thistles, it's the good old trowel method, and the secret is to get as far down the side of the plant as you can and try and lever up the root. Now, these have a very deep root and you are unlikely to get it all out. As you can see, that one snapped off about an inch or so from the plant leaves. But if the plant doesn't have any leaves, it can't photosynthesize, and that means it can't grow. And the root itself only has so much energy to keep trying to grow, to keep putting up leaves. So if you keep doing this, eventually you will win and the plant will die, the root will die. So now we've got the weeds out the lawn, then we need to scarify it. Now, scarifying is a way of pulling out all of the dead stuff and the moss and small weeds from the base of the lawn, and to do that I'm going to use a scarifier. And as you can see, it has a shaft on there with lots of little wire tines that just go round really quickly and flick all of the dead stuff and the moss out of the lawn. Now, if you don't have one of these, you could just use a sprung garden rake. Now, it's a bit more hard work, takes a bit longer, but the result's just the same. Now, this scarifier does come with a collector, but I find is a complete waste of time in that it fills up so quickly. So we tend to scarify and then rake up after. And because we've got this really awkward bank, I do that first because it's quite difficult and slippery. And so now the lawn's scarified, the next step is to just rake up the loose stuff into piles, which we can then collect and add to the compost heaps. And then I'll get the lawnmower out and we will actually go over it with the lawnmower. And that does two things. One, it'll cut the grass a little bit, but mainly it's to hoover up any loose stuff that we've missed with the rake. That's it all in the compost, layered with dead material, so leaves and sticks. So layers of about 4 inches, green and brown. So now we've scarified and cut the grass, we need to aerate it. Now you can buy attachments for the scarifier, which are like spikes, or you can buy shoes with spikes on and you walk around, or you can just use a garden fork and just go in a few inches and just put holes into the soil. And what this does is allow the soil to breathe. It allows the feed to get in there when we feed it, and it allows for drainage. It takes a while, but it is really worth doing. So now we've aerated it, what I'm going to do is put some seed down on the really bald patches that we've got, which there aren't many of, to be fair. So, and for that I'm just going to use this Johnson's grass seed. And then once I've done that, I'm going to feed the lawn with a natural feed, not a chemical feed, because again, we want to be able to put the grass cuttings into the compost. Now the chemical feeds, things like 4-in-1 and what have you, are very good. They help kill the moss better than these do, really, I think. But you can't use the grass cuttings in your compost for 6 weeks. So we use a natural one, which really does fertilise the grass and helps to prevent weeds and moss. So I'm going to get this spread around the lawn. So when you scarify your lawn at this time of the year, don't expect it to look fantastic afterwards. You've ripped out a lot of the moss and the dead stuff, so it's going to look a bit patchy, but that will come back. As soon as the spring's here and it starts to warm up and the grass starts growing, this will recover in no time. And because the soil can now breathe, it's going to be much easier for the grass to put up new shoots. So the one thing I'll say about feeds are, make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions, and you can apply them with a spreader that you push along, and you can set the meterage, the dosage, or you can do what I did and walk around scattering it. That box had a sort of a grill inside it for spreading the feed. You can, if you're not sure, weigh the amount you need per square metre and then mark your lawn out with bits of string so it's a grid square metres and spread it that way. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. It's how we treat our lawn at this time of year, and very similar, we'll do exactly the same in the autumn and try and get any dead stuff and moss out before the winter starts. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. And if you'd like to see more content like this, then please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.